Good afternoon, everyone. This is episode 43 of Pinstripe Press. We're back with you talking about the Yanks. They've dropped 2 out of 3 series. Bats are cold. Pitching's not great. Let's break this down here, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you really say other than it's been, an up and down start? We've had the highs of scoring 20 runs a game, averaging like 9 runs a game for a while. And then you've had like the Tigers series where we couldn't really hit anything. And we've been shut down completely. So, we're sitting at around a 500 record right now, which is, obviously still super early in the season, but for now it's good enough to get us into the wild card. The AL hasn't been fantastic, so I think everything's, for the up for grabs as far as playoffs go.
Yeah, the AL is definitely not as strong as, we've talked about that before the season started, and looking at the standings, like you said, everyone's kind of in the same boat. So I guess it's still early, but definitely there's a lot of frustration we've seen so far with this team. And honestly, it's probably, at least for the rotation side, the injuries have definitely showed, the effects that they've had on this team. And, guys just haven't really stepped up in the way we needed to, and in the way they kind of did. They did last year, but we'll get into that. And starting, obviously, we left off with the series versus the Pirates. And the Pirates are, we know what's going on with them, very dysfunctional. And, I mean, game one, I really think the Pirates series and the Tigers series, 2 great games Max Fried had, kind of solidified himself as a Yankee, hopefully can continue a good season. But these were kind of like his 2 first great outings. Obviously in the Pirates game, only 1 run given up, 6 strikeouts. So he gets his first win too. And, the offense actually backed him up because, as we talk about in the other series, there's kind of a lack of offense shown. So obviously in that first game, you look down the stat sheet and really everyone contributed here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is at the point of the season so far where we were still pretty, hot with the bats. Obviously there was a couple games against Arizona where we couldn't score too much, but going up against the Pirates, we definitely had some better matchups on the pitching front. We were able to get a hold of Mitch Keller and Bailey Falter. I believe those were the 2 guys we faced when we won by quite a bit. And, yeah, we hit them all pretty well, everyone contributing, 9 runs in the first game, 10 in the second. So, yeah, that was, pretty, encouraging. We liked seeing those wins as well. Everyone really contributing, like you said.
Yeah, and those first 2 games, it's, the offense just, when they do their job, it's fine. Like, we keep talking about it because if you look at that second game, Stroman was on the bump, and again, I mean, that's another story we'll have to get into today. But I mean, Stroman could only go 4, gave up 4 runs. It's like, but when the offense can put together stuff and get 10 runs, it's like that outing doesn't look as bad as it was, if they would have lost 4-2. It's so it's just like, man, if the offense could just do their thing, it could be great. And I mean, looking at the rotation, honestly, outside of Fernando Cruz in that first game, those first 2 games, the rest of the guys were pretty solid. But obviously that all goes downhill in that third game when, obviously the Yankees win this series versus the Pirates, but the third game, it's like, man, where does the offense go? Again, it's that inconsistency. You score 10 runs and 9 runs, and then third game, it's like you're going to extra innings with the Pirates. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, this was like a super frustrating game to watch, because it was the entire game where, we couldn't score other than, like the first inning we put up one run. The rest of the game, we pretty much got completely shut down by Andrew Heaney. So, like that's a guy who's really just on the downward part of his career, in the later part of his career. Really shouldn't be a guy that's carving us up. He went 7 innings with 10 strikeouts on us, and he really shut us down. And then until that ninth inning, that's when we made the comeback. Obviously, that was exciting to see. We still had that fight in us, enough to get us to the extra innings. But then in extras, we obviously we lost the game. Devin Williams giving up the walk off to Tommy Pham. So yeah, that was a disappointing loss. Definitely one of those games where you see the Yankees bats really just missing everything, striking out a ton, and yeah, just not able to do enough to get the win.
Yeah, definitely. It's always frustrating to lose a close game there. And then, yeah, it's like how much, I guess, for this game, how much would you blame or not blame? Like, how would you get frustrated at Devin Williams or like the guys, pitching in those extras? Because, like, honestly, the offense, the offense wasn't doing anything in extra innings. And, like, you have a guy on second versus the Pirates, like we keep saying, it's like, come on, like, you should be able to win this game. So it's like, I feel like if you're a reliever, like, yeah, Devin Williams is one of the top relievers in the game. Like, you expect him to get out of it. And obviously he's struggled, and we'll get into that. But it's like there's definitely a lot of pressure added on when you already have a ghost runner on second and your team doesn't put up anything. So it's like you're automatically put into a bad situation. So it's like, I guess, how much do you take away from those outings for those relievers?
Yeah, I mean, it's like super high pressure situation, especially like in extras. We did well enough to hold them in the 10th inning with Luke Weaver. But yeah, when you start off with a guy on second base and you can't score a run in the 2 innings when you have guys starting on second base, there's really you should be able to at least get one. That's what they put it there for, so it speeds up the game. But yeah, the more we do that and not score in extras, that gives the Pirates the opportunity in the bottom of the inning, because all they have to do is get one base hit and the game's over. They were able to do that because Devin Williams still hasn't really established his changeup yet. And yeah, so he hasn't really had command. I don't put much blame of it on him per se. I think he's still working through things. People who say that we should give the closer role back to Weaver, I think, are pretty ridiculous. I mean, Devin Williams is unbelievable. He has like a career like 2 ERA, and yeah, this is a guy who will be just fine. In more recent outings, he's been a lot better. He was able to close out a couple of games, and yeah, I think this is him coming back from the paternity list. Still one of his first outings of the season. Obviously not ideal, but like, what can he do when your offense isn't giving you any help? So yeah, I think just a combination of some unfortunate things going on for us here.
I agree, man. I agree. And, after this loss kind of went downhill for the rest of the series, heading into the Tiger series, that first game, Rodon's on the bump. And, I mean, after freaking yesterday's game and in this game, it's like he literally just he starts the games off so well. He's dialed in, and it looks like he's going for a great start, and then it's just like he just collapsed. Like it's like a few pitches, he just gives up, gives it up, and then they score runs, and then you look and it's like, oh, he's given up 5 runs through 6 innings with 8 strikeouts, where it was just 5 innings he was pitching with 7 strikeouts and 1 run given up. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy how good he looks at the start of games and then just totally collapses right at the end of his outing.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the guy who's given up the most home runs in the MLB since the start of 2024. When you're doing that and you have some troubles walking batters, then you give up the home runs, they're going to score a bunch of runs off of that. You immediately put yourself in a vulnerable situation when you're giving up the long ball frequently. I mean, yeah, Rodon obviously still has some good stuff. We've seen it so far this season and through his few starts, but all it takes is a couple of mistakes, and they hit the long ball. We saw it in this outing against the Tigers, and we also saw it in his most recent outing, just in this previous series against the Giants. So, yeah, I mean, giving up the long ball, you make a couple mistakes that gives them, a few runs at least. And yeah, when the offense isn't doing anything, you aren't going to win those games. So in this situation, that was exactly what happened. The offense was only able to put up 2 runs, and Rodon made, that mistake, gave up the 3-run home run to Ibanez, and got into some trouble in the 6th and 7th innings. Yeah, he didn't get an out in the 7th inning.
Oh yeah, it's not great here. I mean, I know the weather's cold, which I don't know, man. Maybe that's a factor. I mean, a lot of these guys come from Florida or in warmer weather areas, so it's like, how much does that play effect? Because typically we'll see this team strive when the weather gets warmer. I mean, obviously last year they had a slump in the middle of summer, but for the most part, when they start getting their runs, it's when it's warmer weather out. I don't know if maybe that's an excuse, but I don't know. I mean, this series, like the offense totally disappeared. Obviously, not as much help from the pitching staff, but I don't know. I mean, you score 2 runs, then no runs in the second game, but obviously you're facing Skubal, the Cy Young winner, and I don't know this. Carrasco on the mound. I don't know. Seems like that trial's kind of over, but he had a good spring, but he's just, I don't know, man. He's just not doing it. And obviously
Well,
there's injuries and stuff, but I don't know.
that being said, like, he's still part of the rotation. He's not done. I mean, we'll get into it in the Giants series, but Marcus Stroman is now down with an injury. He's on the IL, and he's been dreadful. We got Clark Schmidt coming back. He's going to make his first start on Wednesday in a couple of days from now. So he rejoins the rotation. Will take the spot of Marcus Stroman. But that means Will Warren and Carlos Carrasco are still in the rotation. Yeah, so, Warren still, he hasn't been great either, but he's shown some good things. I like his stuff. He's gotten out of some sticky situations. He's, getting some strikeouts, not the worst run prevention. I think he could stick around in the rotation because we'll need him. But, it's really that 5th guy. We'll expect Clark Schmidt to be fine. But really, we need Carrasco for now to be that 5th starter. So, yeah, really, he's up there with like a 7-something ERA as well. Yeah, I mean, that's just what we have to live with for now. It sucks.
Hmm. Yeah, just gotta till we get some of these guys back. Just gotta roll with who we got. So yeah, I mean, Yankees dropped those two games versus the Tigers, and then you know, game three looking to avoid the sweep. And this was definitely Max Fried's best outing. And I don't understand why every time with the Yankees, it's like when the starter pitches well, it's like the offense has no runs scored at all. I mean, Fried, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs given up, no walks, 11 strikeouts. Totally was dealing this game. No doubt. Shut them out. Um, and I mean, the offense puts up 4 runs, which was enough, but two of those runs came in the seventh inning. So it's like, man, it's just no help at all. I mean, he had to do it all on his own, and then Devin Williams, um, almost blew this game here. Gave up 3 runs, and man, I don't know. We're gonna talk about him, but I don't know. This game, it was great, and then wow, this game almost got blown. We almost lost it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a pitcher's duel from the beginning. Max Fried versus Jack Flaherty, the high school teammates. They're both dealing. Um, but yeah, Fried was unbelievable. 7 innings, scoreless, 11 strikeouts. You know, like this is where he became a Yankee. This is his signature performance where he became a Yankee. And yeah, we did enough, in the late innings to plate a few runs. And yeah, like you said, we almost blew it. We had a comfortable enough lead where we were able to get in Mark Leiter to get the final out, but we do only win this one 4-3. So we do avoid the sweep against the Tigers, but throughout the entire series, you put up 6 runs in those 3 games. Yeah, you really can't say anything else about that. Just no one really doing much. You've got Ben Rice performing, Paul Goldschmidt, a consistent bat, and obviously Aaron Judge. Other than that, the lineup has been super inconsistent, especially guys like Jazz Chisholm, who has been pretty dreadful. Yeah, and towards the bottom of the order, even Austin Wells having a little bit of a slump as well, and Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. Yeah, the offense has definitely unbalanced itself right now. And we're definitely seeing that. I mean, at least Fried's outing, it kind of had like a bright spot to look at from the series. Like, okay, this guy could be special for us. Um, I mean, at least they get that win there. But heading into this Giants series, that first game was just. I mean, the weather was bad. The whole game was just horrible. Stroman was bad. He doesn't go an inning, and now he's on the IL. I mean, who knows? Maybe this becomes a phantom IL type deal where they just keep him on it for longer than he really has to be. I don't know. He's just obviously he had the quotes from spring training about him being a starter. And he's not put up to expectations at all.
Yeah, I believe after this outing, he's up to like 11.5 ERA on the season. So yeah, if you're calling yourself a superstar and a starter, you got to be performing better than that. It's just as simple as that. You can't have an 11 ERA as a starter on the Yankees. So we'll see if something is actually wrong with him. I mean, obviously, I know they put him on the IL, but we'll see if he comes back and is somehow healthy and performs better. But we mentioned this early on in the season when he goes, a little like between 4 and 5 innings, gives up 2 to 3 runs. Sometimes we can deal with that as an offense. We can put up those runs and win that game still. But this right here is unacceptable. He couldn't get through the first inning, faced 9 batters, and retired 2 of them. Allowed those 5 runs. And from the beginning, the game was pretty much doomed. Um, yeah, I mean, and it's not like Robbie Ray was even fantastic either. He only went 4 innings, had trouble with command, and we could not capitalize on that whatsoever. We had 2 hits in the entire game. Um, Obviously, this was the game that got shortened because of the weather. Um, but honestly, I'm glad that it was because it would have only gotten worse. Um, would have had to use more of our bullpen, and yeah, the score would have just been even worse than it already was.
Yeah, just not good all around from the get go. Just wanted that game to be over. And yeah, game two was a nice win, 8-4, and Will Warren honestly really turned it around here. A little concern at the start, giving up those 2 runs, but dialed himself in, and you know, man, it was a good outing for him. And the offense had his back. Putting up 2 spot in the first inning, and again, looking at the stat sheet, like everyone pretty much contributed here. Especially that top of the order is it's just, I mean, like, this is, you had the game before Yankees really get shut out. The weather was bad, but then it's like, man, then you go this next game, you put up 8 runs, starting pitching does well, the offense all around does well, 11 hits. It's just like, I don't know, it's like you see what they're capable of, and then it's like you see what the floor is, their worst. So it's just like, man, if they could just figure it out, like this team, it's got bright spots. 'Cause, I mean, the Giants are a good team. Coming into the season, they made some acquisitions in the offseason, and we thought the Giants could be good this year. So it's like it's not like they're playing a team that's just bad. I mean, on paper they got guys. So it's just like, man, if the Yankees got potential. I know the record's bad right now. Not bad, but not what we'd like. But it's just like I think we might just have to be patient. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely benefit from getting Clark Schmidt back, and hopefully Rodon can settle in, stop making as many mistakes. Um, it's it's tough to agree with Aaron Boone sometimes with how much optimism he has in everyone, but I kind of do agree with him when he says Rodon looks pretty good, and he's just missing every once in a while, and it's costing him a lot. And obviously that's no excuse, but I do like the way Rodon's been pitching for the most part. Obviously, Fried has been outstanding, sitting at a 1-something ERA. After that, there's question marks. You look at Will Warren's outing. The final line doesn't wow you. Like 5 innings, 2 earned, 6 strikeouts, gave up 2 walks, 2 hits. But this is a guy that's making his 7th career MLB start, and we absolutely take that out of him. So yeah, with the offense producing, his outing was enough for us to get this win pretty comfortably, and I do like what I'm seeing out of him. Yeah, we already mentioned this, but he seems to have some solid strikeout stuff, and yeah, he could definitely be a staple in this rotation throughout this year with the injuries. So we'd like for him to keep up this performance. The ERA is still not sitting in a pretty spot, but if he can keep doing some stuff like this, we'll absolutely live with it. And yeah, the lineup, like you said, the top of the order doing super well in this one. Multiple hits from the top 3, as well as Jason Dominguez. And yeah, good all-around solid win. Like you said, Devin Williams closing it out. Not a safe situation, but good to see him have a clean inning with a couple of strikeouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going into that final game of the series, through 6 innings, you were like, wow, okay, we're turning the page here. You win that game, and then through 6, Rodon's got, what, 7 strikeouts, legit, like, a couple hits only, and, like, 1 run given up. You're like, oh, my gosh, like, man, he's dealing. Like, he might have figured it out, and then he hangs one, and Jung Ho Lee hits 3-run home run, and then it all just goes downhill. It's like, man, he was pitching so well too. Like that's the thing. So it's like it's tough to judge because how do you judge that? Because obviously, like it's 3-1 ball game, and this is what I'm also talking about. It's like yeah, the Yankees had 3 runs, but with the offense and the expectations they have, we'd hope that they could score more than runs than that for run support. But it's like 3-1, 6 inning. Rodon's totally dealing, like owning this game, and then it's just like one pitch he slips, and then all of a sudden they're down 4-3. It's like I don't know what to. It's like yeah, it's like what Boone's saying, what you're saying. It's like he's been pitching well. I mean, you look at his outing so far, and I mean the strikeouts are up there. 8 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts, 5 strikeouts. It's just, and he's going 6 innings, so it's just like man, it's literally just like one inning screws it over for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was literally only Jung-Hoo Lee. 2 homers off of Rodon. Those were the 4 earned runs he gave up. So that was what did it. That gave him the lead. 2 mistake pitches, and yeah, instantly the Giants are on top and take a hold of this one, and we aren't able to make the comeback. Did see Jazz Chisholm get a solo homer in this one to bring it to 5-4, but yeah, at that point we didn't score any more than that. And yeah, we lose at 5-4. Ryan Walker closes it out for him. And yeah, in this one, really, not too much offense, but when you get offense early, in the form of, a few runs in the first couple of innings, you hope to, keep that lead throughout the game. But yeah, once again, Rodon just making those costly mistakes that lead to the Yankees losing this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, this one was very frustrating because, you think you almost have the win in the bag. Starters pitching well. I mean, the Yankees out hit the Giants. It's just, that long ball just pretty much took it. And then, I don't know. I mean, this was the last game of the series. Yankees lose that series. And I think this game kind of summed up so far what the Yankees have been. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I mean, Yankees have just lost 2 series in a row. Obviously, they faced what 3 out of the 4 series so far NL teams. Now they'll start to get into mainly ALs, which we know that the AL is not really strong this year. But I mean, the Yankees haven't looked that strong right now. I mean, I guess like, all right. First, let me say some names, and I know we just broke down a lot of these guys, but looking at them, how concerned are you? How concerned are you? And then also we have some guys who have played well too. So I guess like, what is looking at them, what have you taken from them away? And then we'll look at as a whole the offense and the pitching. So starting off well, we'll talk about Ben Rice. Obviously he's been on a heater so far. What have you seen so far that you like? What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's been unbelievable. I'm sure a lot of you have seen, but he leads the major leagues in average exit velocity, barrel rate. So yeah, he's absolutely on fire. Yeah, for the most part, he's getting on base a ton at the top of our order and crushing the ball. I think he's got 4 home runs on the year. Yeah, and he's been pretty dang good. I think third. I mean, yeah, we could see it here. Third on the team in OPS. higher OPS than Juan Soto thus far. Um, so yeah, the real number 22 is in town. But yeah,
Hey.
no, he's been really good. Could be our first baseman of the future. Obviously, right now for this year, we have Paul Goldschmidt, who's been playing really well on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. But past this year or next year, maybe if we re-sign Goldschmidt for another year, Rice could be that guy for the long term at first base. He seems to have really figured things out and is crushing the ball. So he's been someone that's been a consistent threat in our lineup, and I think it'll be interesting to see how we fit him in the lineup once Stanton returns, if he does return this year, because both Goldschmidt and Rice have been playing pretty well.
Yeah, he's definitely has shocked some people here. Obviously, you look 298 batting average. And man, he's definitely been killing it at the top of the lineup. Staying on the offense here, obviously you can see this is our, the lineup here, not the lineup, but all the offensive stats we have so far for the guys. And I mean, right now it's from top to bottom, it's ranked by average. And obviously, you look towards the bottom, you see a lot of the names here. You got Volpe, Wells, Bellinger, and Jazz. So I guess moving into Cody Bellinger, obviously he had some expectations coming into the season. Trading for him, lefty bat. Right now hitting a $196. But it is early. I mean, what have you seen so far from him?
He's just been chasing a lot more than we'd want him to. I think he needs to stay patient at the plate. I think he'll turn things around, but right now he's striking out a ton, chasing. When he is making contact with the ball, it's usually pretty good. Some hard hit balls. Not really hitting many home runs, but he is hitting the ball pretty hard when he does hit it. I think we're just seeing a rough patch out of him. He'll definitely turn things around. He's not going to be like this the entire year. But yeah, there is that concern because, we signed him we traded for him coming off of a pretty rough year with the Cubs. So yeah, there's definitely that potential where he drops to close to like a 700 to 750 OPS player, which is not where we'd want him. So there is that risk, but I think, it won't be as bad as it is right now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of season left, and I mean, we gotta hope that there is a lot of the season left, so these guys could definitely turn it around. Because I mean, if you're looking at this list, I mean, you outside of Cabrera and Peraza, I mean, they're not going to be playing every day. So like realistically, Ben Rice down. I mean, there's literally only 4 guys right now that really are contributing on offense. I mean, everyone else is almost below 230. Into you got Cody Bellinger and Jazz, who are 2 starting pieces that we really said at our first episode back. We talked about these are the guys that we hope and we need to step up this year. And obviously we're seeing when they're not on their best game on offense, the team doesn't do well. And right now I think Yankees have started off pretty rough. I mean, I don't, you'd like them to be well above 500, and obviously they're sitting at 500 now. And I'd say the play so far has been pretty 500 level play, if not worse. I mean, he talked a little bit about Goldschmidt. I mean, I don't know if he wanted to talk some more because obviously, he's raking right now, 357. And honestly, it seems like every game he's just been really consistent. The game might be out of hand, but you check the box score and he's got multiple hit games. I mean, obviously he's on the older side, and it's a long season, so you definitely hope that he could stay with it the whole year. I mean, I'd imagine as the season gets going, he'd probably get some more off days, especially with Rice playing well.
Yeah, I mean, Goldie's been super good. Definitely, if he keeps playing like this, he'll be, well worth the contract that we gave him this season. He's been, yeah, he's honestly been a hit machine. Not slugging too much, but if you're hitting him at the top of the lineup, that's not necessarily everything you need because we have other guys in the lineup that can slug. Yeah, he's been really good. I like to see him at the top of the order. Once Bellinger gets going again, maybe see him in the 2 spot. But right now, having Ben Rice in the 2 spot would be nice as well. He's got 4 homers, and so he's been slugging a little bit more, driving in those runs, and also getting on base a ton as well. But yeah, Goldie hitting a lot of singles, but really you can't complain. He's been getting on base and not striking out a ton. So yeah, really loved what I've seen out of him thus far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I think like for me going into this season, I kind of had like it switched. Like I mean it's still early, but I felt like Cody could really take a jump this year, and then I didn't really know what to expect from Goldschmidt. So I mean, as if Goldie could keep it up, like you said, I mean that 1 year deal would look definitely like a steal value. And then I think the last guy looking at this offense. I mean, obviously Wells has cooled off a bit, Volpe, but I mean, you look at it, it's like majority of the offense just isn't up to expectation. But honestly, Jazz, he hasn't been good. I mean, the stat was like he's like 3 for 38. Since he like made that comment about the fans, and he's striking out a lot. I mean, he homered yesterday, but it's like, man, this guy, I don't know, it's just not been good.
Yeah, like you can see on the stat sheet right here, he has 10 hits on the season, 5 of them being home runs. So he isn't going to consistently hit with this amount of slugging. And yeah, he just needs to get more hits and strike out way less. He's like at the top of the league in strikeouts. He's got 24 strikeouts already. That batting average is horrendous. The on-base percentage is horrendous. Yeah, if this is the guy that's hitting in the middle of our order, we need him to be better than this, and that's that's obvious. There's no doubt about that. I hope what he's saying about like the weather affecting him is true because he's been obviously very outspoken about not liking to play in the cold, and that's not how baseball should be played. I hope that's what's affecting him because sooner or later the weather will get warmer, and we'll see if he actually ends up performing when the weather is warmer. We didn't see him until around the trade deadline last year, and he was good, and it was the summer, it was warm. Then we got to playoff time, he wasn't fantastic in the colder weather, so maybe it is a thing. Yeah, we'd like to see him step up for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's got his speed, and the defense has been pretty better than the play at second base we had last year. But man, we definitely hope he could just pick it up, which I think he will, and we need to because again, I'll say it. You're looking at these stats. I mean, this is more than majority of the team is just not hitting well. So if we want to, even if we want to make the playoffs, we're going to have more people contribute than obviously Judge, but also Goldschmidt. And then obviously Trent Grisham, he had his series going in Pittsburgh. So it's like, I guess we can't really rely on, again, Judge, but like Goldschmidt and Ben Rice. Like everyone else has to pick this up, especially like it's the more you talk about it, the more concerning you get because, we'll get into now the pitching side, and the pitching's been not great. So it's like, man, the offense has to pick this up here. Um, I guess the pitching side here, the first guy I want to talk about is Will Warren. We broke him down a little bit in these series, but I mean, what have you seen so far? I mean, he's had some up and down, mediocre starts. Obviously, the last one he had, when they're pitched well, but what have you seen, and what do you think we could possibly see from him going forward?
I think it's been really good. I think, yeah, obviously he's still trying to find a sort of consistency. Like this is his first time starting off the season in the rotation, and obviously, yeah, the ERA isn't where we want it to be, but it's been what 3 starts for him, and yeah, I think where you see what's probably a better indicator of how he's been. You look over on that right side of the chart. You look at the WHIP at a 1.14. You look at the average against at a 1.84. Those are really good numbers. And yeah, I think he has gotten into trouble with walking batters and giving up a couple of home runs as well, similar to Rodon. But yeah, overall he's been really solid, I think. And I think if he keeps pitching the way he does, we will see him, get that ERA down closer to where we want it. And yeah, like we've been saying, he is going to be part of this rotation at least for most of the year, most likely. So yeah, he'll need to perform and step up because right now not many others are.
Yeah, and if he keeps pitching well, again, we talked about possibly being this year's Luis Seal. I mean, that'd be great if Warren could totally find a role here, and then you got him and Heel. You got 2 young arms in this rotation. Would definitely be great for this team. And then moving down that list, we talked about Stroman. 11.57 ERA, and I don't think he's gone over 4 innings pitched. Very disappointed, but I mean, I can imagine you're probably feeling the same way.
Yeah, I mean, like it's been such a roller coaster with Stroman ever since this offseason. We had the point where we had him as like the odd man out as a 6th starter. We wanted to trade him. Then we get the injuries, and all of a sudden he becomes our third starter. And now it's like he's been so bad that I'm like, maybe we should have just traded him when we had the chance, because right now no one's going to want him with the way he's pitching. Watching these games, especially the game against the Giants, the most recent start, was just super frustrating. He was like consistently missing on the outside part of the plate to right-handed hitters, and really just wasn't making any adjustments. He's the type of pitcher that pitches to contact. He's not going to get a ton of strikeouts. And, when he's missing his locations, he's going to walk people, and then he's going to need to force, pitches more in the middle of the plate. And then people are hitting him because he doesn't have overpowering stuff. It's really just been a nightmare for him thus far. I really don't know what else to say. It's just been pretty horrible. We're just glad to have Clark Schmidt back in his place, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like looking at the stats, like 9 innings pitched, 12 hits, 12 earned runs given up. It's like, oh my god, it's not good, man. And
like look at Michael King. He just had a complete game.
Yeah.
In his, I think a complete game shutout in his most recent game. That's 9 innings right there in one start. And then you have Marcus Stroman, who's made 3 starts and has barely gotten over 9 innings. it's not only, giving up runs, but if you can't get outs, your bullpen is going to be under a huge amount of pressure, a huge amount of stress, and you're going to be using them way more than you want. So yeah, I think all over it's just been pretty horrendous.
Oh yeah, I'm just like I'm looking at this list, man, and like, man, these numbers are high for everyone. Like, you look at Carrasco, 7 ERA and 16 hits, 10 runs given up through 11 innings. I mean, and then we'll go right under Stroman. Devin Williams. I mean, again, it's early, and it's still so much season left. I mean, obviously, just he hasn't started great. He hasn't had a great start so far on the Yankees. 9 ERA, 4 innings. I mean, 4 earned runs. Just not stats you would like from Devin Williams. Not what you expected, but I mean, it's early. Are you concerned at all? I mean, obviously you talked about it earlier, but
Yeah, no, I don't really have concerns with him. It's like you can see there he's pitched 4 innings.
yeah,
He can easily go on a streak of 5+ scoreless outings, which is something that he does for a living. He that's what he does. He'll do that plenty of times this season, and his numbers will get back close to normal. Um, so yeah, I really don't have any worries regarding him.
yeah. I mean, the season's so young. Like, it's only been like a couple weeks in, so like, it's tough to definitely look at stats. At least on the offensive side, because yeah, like a player could have a great like next 2 games, and their batting average could get boosted all the way up to 300. Um, I guess it's just tough start. I mean, you're looking at these stats, it just shows Yankees have just had a tough start so far. Very slow, but they've only played a few a few weeks. Only what 4 series, 5, 4? Yeah, 4 series so far. Um, and I mean they'll be getting into the AL, and I mean statistically so far the AL has been weak, and especially from this off season. So I mean we'll see how that is now as we get into AL play, but just I mean obviously Freed's been great so far, man.
Yeah,
He's he on man, it's just Rodon stats, dude, like 14 earned runs, but like it just stinks because he's had some great battles so far. Because I'm like, honestly, dude, Rodon, Fried, Warren, like I don't like, maybe start the season, man, get these bad starts out. Because like, man, if Rodon and Warren could like, I mean, more like Warren, if Warren like just stays steady with it, like his ERA could definitely drop down to the threes. I mean, Rodon, he's had some good outings. Just one inning he screws it over. So like we'll see if he fixes that up. But like man, if those three stay with it, now adding Clark Schmidt coming back, Luis Heel will come back in the summertime. So it's like just trying to find some optimism. I mean, Carrasco and Stroman were up just because of injuries. Like we know that. So it's like, yeah, you look and like, oh, this rotation stinks. But it's like, man, I mean, they're dealt with injuries. I mean, you lost Garrett Cole, Schmidt, Heel, literally 3 guys who were difference makers. Maybe not as much Schmidt because he was injured, but obviously Cole and Heel, difference makers. I mean, he won the Rookie of the Year, and Cole's one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in the league. So it's like it's gonna happen. I mean, so it's like you can't really get too worried. And then I mean, looking at the bullpen, I mean, I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like the bullpen's numbers are like ERAs at least are high, but again, I
I
feel like
think
that's
those numbers are
another.
inflated.
Yeah,
Like when you look at the rotation, they're not getting a lot of innings. Which forces the bullpen to work a lot more than they would want. And when you're doing that, you're just going to give up more runs as a bullpen. Um, I don't think it's been as bad as what it's looked like. I think they've just been in some bad situations, and yeah, they've haven't been the best. But I think, you know, for the most part, we've had, guys, we've seen good things out of most guys in the pen. I did want to go back to Carlos Rodon really quickly.
Mhm.
If you just look at, those home run numbers and those walk numbers, they're just so much higher than anyone else on the team. Um, you can't, you just can't like perform well when you have those numbers. I think as soon as he starts to get those numbers under control, we'll see a lot better, you know, we'll be a lot happier with how he's doing because everything else is looking good, good strikeout numbers, his Ks per nine is really good so far. The whip and average against is good as well. So yeah, as soon as he gets those home runs and walks under control, I think we'll be liking what we're seeing out of Rodon. Then you add that to Fried, you add that to Schmidt, who we expect to be another solid starter. Will Warren, if he stays consistent, that's another guy we like. And then, yeah, Luis Heel down the line. That is a rotation that we could, really like. Um, I think right now it's just, in a bad spot. Guys still getting settled into the season. Yeah, and obviously the injuries haven't helped either. But yeah, I think honestly, having the worst starting pitching ERA in the league for us to be above 500 still, I think that's a win. So um, those starting pitching numbers will come back to normal once we get healthier, and yeah, we'll be winning more games.
Yeah, we still got what we've only played like 15 games, 162 game season. I think a lot of the numbers are definitely inflated. I feel like I've been happy with the bullpen. I mean, probably the guy who's been pitching the worst, I'd say, is probably Devin Williams, and we know he should figure it out. So it's like I'm liking the bullpen. I mean, if we get these guys back on the starting rotation, like I think 100% these numbers should get back to, we'll start to see it out as the season starts going, but we'll get some guys back from the rotation, and then hopefully the offense gets going. I mean, everything we've shown just shows that the Yankees have just had a pretty rough start to the season. But like you said, to be above 500, and I do think the AL is definitely weaker than the NL. So, man, if we start AL play, I think you just gotta be patient. If you ask yourself how concerned are you with the Yankees, it's like I feel like you can't. I feel like it can't be that high because there's so many games that come. So it's like, a lot of the guys who are playing right now might not even be playing in like the next month or two. So it's like, hopefully we get these guys back. The offense just, starts to figure it out, which it should be. And you literally have to hope they do, because if not, I mean, this team can't make the playoffs with just three people contributing. I mean, no team can make the playoffs with just three guys on offense contributing. So, they have to if they want to make the playoffs. So just got to be patient, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see that as we continue on in the season. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Upcoming, we got Kansas City Royals series starting tonight. On the mounds will be Carlos Carrasco, Max Fried, and then Clark Schmidt making his season debut in Game 3. And then on the Royals side, we will have them pitching Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, and Chris Bubik. Three solid pitchers. Chris Bubik honestly having a really good season thus far, breakout candidate for him. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. Their offense not being amazing. So yeah,
Should be a good test, man. Should be a good test. I think that's all we got. And hey, who knows, man? After these next series, when we got our next episode, man, the Yankees could be. We could be talking about how good they've been. So, yeah, long season, long season.
Yes, everyone has to remember that.
Long season. All right. Go Yanks, man.
Yep. Peace.